Coming up, new details on the release of Bray Wyatt, Jon Moxley enters a rehabilitation program, and more big names are cut from WWE. What's up, y'all? It's Travis Fowler Harkrider with Four Corner Post bringing you this week's edition of The 10 Count. Starting off at number 1 is the new developments behind the release of Bray Wyatt from this past summer. Of course, WWE releasing Wyatt from his contract made sense to absolutely nobody, and the reason behind it was said to be budget cuts. Nobody believed that to begin with. Now, this past week, new details have surfaced through Ringside News' source, such as Bray Wyatt having apparent creative issues, being very outspoken about where he thought his Fiend character should be going. This, along with undisclosed flag medical issues and an apparent weight issue, all led to his eventual release from the company. The former Bray Wyatt, now going by his real name Windham, in response to this, stated that, well, I guess we have John and Bruce's side of the story. Now it's time that you hear my side soon enough. Of course, the new Windham has had the whole wrestling world in his hands, just waiting to see what he would do next in the pro wrestling world. Hopefully, we won't have to wait too much longer to find out exactly what that is or what his side of the story is. Sticking with Windham news at number 2, the original plans for the Firefly Funhouse and the Fiend Alexa Bliss character were revealed. Kyle Scarsborough, who was the mock-up artist behind the Fiend mask, tweeted out a few interesting photos this week that showed mock-ups for other characters that were within the Fiend's world. The most interesting one was that of what was later confirmed to be Huskus the Pig Boy. This fiendish / hog boar mashup mask was absolutely terrifying and apparently was the first of what was supposed to be all the puppets within the Firefly Funhouse. Bray Wyatt insisted on playing each character himself, but WWE did not get behind this and shelved the idea. He would also tweet out a picture of original art he had made for a makeup mask combination and a straight up mask for the Fiend Alexa Bliss gimmick that we saw debut late last year. Both of these that were tweeted out are absolutely unsettling, and I really wish WWE would have explored both of these options a little further, because I can only imagine what the other puppets could have looked like, or even what Alexa Bliss would have looked like had we seen masks for all of these characters. At number 3, the real reason behind the former Bronson Reed, now going by Jonah, did not debut at Impact Wrestling's Bound for Glory. On last week's episode, we reported that Impact was holding off because they wanted to make it feel like a big deal. Unfortunately, we must retract that, as news has come out that it was more of an immigration situation that kept Jonah from being at the show. Hopefully all this gets worked out though rather quickly, as Jonah has been in talks with both New Japan and Impact Wrestling, and was also in talks with Ring of Honor before their shutdown to come into the company. At number 4, there's nothing but pure respect for this story, as Jon Moxley reportedly entered into an inpatient alcohol treatment earlier this week. Moxley, of course, is a huge AEW star, and we wish him nothing but the best. Tony Khan himself would tweet out this news, canceling the match originally scheduled for Moxley versus Orange Cassidy on this past week's episode of AEW Dynamite, and said that he would be taking time away and go through this inpatient treatment. Tony Khan, along with the entire wrestling world, and especially myself, all wish Moxley the best, and we hope that he can get well and back in the ring very soon. Coming in at number 5 is the debut of a new partnership between Major League Wrestling and All Japan Pro Wrestling. The MLW and AJPW partnership will kick off on November 28th, as we will see an interpromotional battle for the World Middleweight Championship, as the defending champion Yoshihiro Tajiri will take on Atsui Aogi at this first interpromotional battle for the two companies. Both of these guys work a strong Japanese style, And honestly, it's pretty intriguing to see what MLW and All Japan can do going forward with this partnership. At number 6, we have a creative direction issue when it comes to Miro and AEW. This past week, with the news of Moxley being pulled from the Orange Cassidy and the World Title Eliminator Tournament as a whole, AEW would respond by putting Miro in Moxley's place, which actually I thought was a pretty good fit storyline-wise, considering Miro has been on a roll and has only had one loss during his AEW tenure in a one-on-one match. He would go on to defeat Orange Cassidy and advance to the finals to face Bryan Danielson at Full Gear. This was a great move creatively in my opinion, and I actually look forward to seeing what Bryan Danielson and Miro can put together at Full Gear next Saturday. At number 7, it's a huge question mark as to whether we will see Ring of Honor return from their hiatus next year. Now, of course, they did state that Supercard of Honor will go on as planned, but that looks to be even more in question with the recent quarterly earnings of its parent company, Sinclair Broadcasting. Sinclair released these earnings earlier this week and showed that they are millions of dollars in debt. This has left people wondering, will Ring of Honor actually make a comeback during the time that they have said that they will? Only time will tell if we will see ROH reemerge. For us wrestling fans and those who were actually fans of Ring of Honor during its heydays, we can only hope that ROH can make their comeback and we can have more great action provided from Ring of Honor. At number 8 is more big releases by WWE. Of course, WWE is no stranger to big cuts this year, as we've seen the releases of Aleister Black, Braun Strowman, and Bray Wyatt, to name a few, but now we can unfortunately add a few more names to that growing list, as we saw Karrion Kross, Keith Lee, Scarlett, Mia Yim, Harry Smith, Frankie Monet, Ember Moon, Eva Marie, and Nia Jax, just to name some of the more notables in this week's round of releases. It is unknown as to exactly what the release factor was for each of these people, although it has been speculated that both age and apparently vaccination stances were some of the reasons as to why these guys were released. All of these people are stars, as Renee Paquette so eloquently stating that they will all end up doing something great because they are all superstars within professional wrestling. I personally can't wait to see where each of these people end up, as I know every single one of these releases will end up doing something bigger and better in their future endeavors. At number 9 is new rules being implemented onto the NXT brand. Dave Meltzer this week said that NXT is looking at doing trial periods for their new stars that are being brought into the company. They are looking, of course, for younger and more athletic stars, and they are putting a 60-day trial period onto these new contracts, basically stating that the company has 60 days to see improvement from the stars that they sign, and if they don't feel like they are progressing well enough or not adjusting well to the program, then they can cut them at that time. Brian Alvarez would later add another rule into NXT's new rules, stating that there will be releases by the NXT brand every 6 months to go along with the same routine. If the superstars are not connecting with the audience or advancing well enough in the program, they also can be cut from WWE. These two rules are apparently to help keep the NXT roster fresh, as all a part of the NXT vision that Vince McMahon has for the brand, which is now going back to a more traditional developmental brand, as opposed to the third brand that we saw Triple H implement for these several past years. Finally, at number 10 is the retirement of an ECW and hardcore legend. The homicidal, suicidal, genocidal Sabu has announced his retirement from in-ring competition. Sabu did an interview stating that he is just too beat up at this point. His back was severely injured during a match that he still hasn't fully recovered from. This has caused him to say that he is now done with in-ring competition and will only be doing appearances and autograph sessions from this moment forward. I appreciate all that Sabu contributed to his time, especially during his original ECW run, and wish him nothing but the best going forward with his wrestling career. Thank you very much for the memories, Sabu. You're greatly appreciated. Well, that's the news that we have for you on this edition of the 10 Count this week. What news stories did we miss out on, and what's your opinion on the stories that we shared? Leave us a comment and let us know. Also, give us a like while you're at it, subscribe to the channel, and make sure to hit the bell so that you're notified anytime a new video is uploaded to the channel. Of course, I'm Travis Fowler Harkwriter with the Four Corner Post, and I will see you guys next week.